All right. Hello, everybody. Just gonna do a little stream as of now. Probably will be on for like maybe like an hour or two. Just talking football. If you got any questions, do leave them in the comments. Just getting the stream set up. Okay. NFL. Okay. All right. Set up my window. All right. You guys can see that, right? Wait, hold on. Should I get my computer? Yeah, hold on. Let me get my computer. Stay, buddy. All right. I gotta fix the latency. Nope. All right. If you guys haven't, make sure you guys go watch the video I just posted on YouTube. Where is it? Type it in the chat. So that video is breaking down 5 prospects or 5 players that I think will break out in the 2023 NFL season. All right, so that video is there. So yeah, if you guys, nobody's in here. Moon River. All right. Yo. Let's go, bro. Hold on. Nothing much. Oh, my microphone is freaking got an echo too. All right. Nothing much. I'm just doing my 2024 NFL draft board preseason rankings and just talking some football, as we always got to do. I'm making the thumbnail right now, though. Just working. You'll be in and out. It's all good, bro. I'll be on here for like a few hours, probably. Hopefully we get some more people in there, though. Okay, that should be... Alright, where is it? There it is. Alright. Now the stream is set up fucking 20 minutes in. Do I play football at all, or just a fan? I am purely a fan. I don't play football. So yeah, I don't play football as of now. I mean, I never really played in general. I'm kind of a fraud. I'm kind of a fraud. So yeah, no. Um, uh, all right, I got this set up. So yeah, no. I don't play football as of recently. Here, I gotta change something. Percy, come here. Come on. Look at the puppadoodle. He said hi. You hate people that saw you never played, so you don't know. Yeah, I guess too. To a certain degree, I don't care. I don't necessarily like. It doesn't bother me, cause I'm like, what are they gonna do? Like Stephen A. Smith didn't play football. He talks about football all the time. Neither did like any other player. Like people, as long as you know what you're talking about and you say it in a way that's like convincing and that it's like it's not stupid. If you say something smart, then people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's smart." But then like the whole credibility comes in. But at the same time, like football people aren't the smartest at sports media either. Like LaShawn McCoy isn't a great analyst either. There's a difference between a player and an analyst. I think they're two different things. Coming from my perspective, you were good in high school. What did you play? Probably slot, right? Slot or some defensive back. Uh, I mean, it also depends on your competition. Because you could be really good in high school and be like a D3 level. Like, you could be like a Hall of Fame player at your high school, but be like, what, a D3 player at most? Football's a tough sport. And you gotta have the genetics for it, but basketball is harder. I mean, I played track. I did track. I ran a lot, and I played baseball, but I wasn't super good at baseball either. I'm not really an athlete. I'm more of a media guy. But yeah. Um. Percy, oh my gosh, my dog got bit by something. Yeah. But yeah, so this is my 2024 NFL big board as of now. I think it's really cool. I like this a lot. So, here, let me pull up last year's. Where is it? Here. Your running back and linebacker at a 5A school in Texas. Texas is way too hard, man. Texas football is actually legit insane at any like level. So Texas, California, Georgia, and Florida, dude, football is it's culture there. Not in California, it's a little less, but in Texas, football's culture there in Texas. But I'm from the Northeast. I'm from Connecticut. Football's not really a big culture here. The culture here is basketball. Man, you go to New York, you go to the Bronx, Brooklyn. People care about basketball here, and Not really hockey. They care about like golf here in the Northeast. Gonzo at top CBs, or are you a spoon guy? Uh, Christian Gonzalez is Devin Witherspoon. I like Christian Gonzalez a lot. So yeah, well, this was last year's rankings, Cade. This was last year's rankings. So yeah, I had Witherspoon under Gonzalez because I think Gonzalez has just got. I think he had more fluid hips, and the thing about Witherspoon is like, he really didn't get targeted ever. And this competition was worse, and he's gonna get thrown out more in the NFL. But at the same time, I think they're both gonna be like stud NFL corners. I really like the both of them. I had Gonzalez as an early first round grade. I had him what? No, I had him as a 6, 7. I had him like an early first, right around like 6, 7. What am I saying? I was legit good, but not D1 or anything. Yeah. Being good at any sport after high school, it's like if you played in college, you were good. If you didn't play after college, it was like whatever. Like you're not gonna be putting it on your resume or anything. Like after high school, it's kind of like a social status. The big thing in like middle school. If you're a good sports player in middle school, you got it. You're the popular kid now. But after that, it's kind of like whatever. Unless your school is supposedly like sports. Like my school was very sports oriented. And it was mainly basketball. Basketball, if you were like a basketball kid, you were one of like the cool kids. Or if you were like really good at football. But yeah. I did have Christian Gonzalez slightly over Witherspoon. But you know, we're talking about 2024 in this chat. Percy, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's a good boy. Puppy's a good boy. But yeah. The other thing that I'm doing this year is I'm doing my 2024 NFL Big Board in a different way. Actually, I'll keep it at 100 for now. So what I'm doing this year is I have the exact football position depth charts. So basically, like if you're a pro style quarterback, dual threat, speed or elusive back, power back, if you're an X or Z or a slot, for tight end, if you're in a Y or an inline, if you're an H at a line tight end, and then you have obviously left tackle, left guard, right guard, and then center, and then edge rushers. There are a bunch of different positions for edge rushers. I limited it to kind of 4, even though like a jack is like not here. We'll move on to 4-3. You got the 3-4 outside linebacker. Those are mainly in obviously 3-4s, but you know you sometimes have outside linebackers or edge rushers in 4-3s, and then jacks. Obviously, those are like the Micah Parsons build of linebacker. Micah Parsons would have been listed as a jack because he bumps back into coverage or rushes the passer. What happened to my thing? Yeah, and then interior defensive linemen, you got defensive tackles, and then nose tackles. What the hell? And then you have that linebacker position. You have, oops, Percy. At linebacker, you have Mike. Oh my god. But yeah. Obviously, I have the Mikes, the Wills, the Sams. Other than Dumas Johnson, on the Georgia depth chart, he's played some money. I'll show you guys. So Georgia runs like a very unique defensive scheme. Like they have MAC linebackers, and they have star. They have like a star on the depth chart. They got money linebackers. They have jacks. They basically run like a. Oh man, what they run like a 3-3-5. They run a very like interesting repertoire. Yeah, they run like a 3-3-5. You've got obviously the interior defensive lineman with like your defensive end, your nose tackle, defensive tackle, but then you got the linebackers, which are the jacks, the monies, which monies are like all around, like they do everything. They'll play all around. You have the Sams, you have the Max. Max is like it's their version of the weak side linebacker. And then you have the 3-3-5. We're coming in at the cornerback border boundary. You have their with Kamari Lassiter as their nickelback. Or not? No, he's not their nickelback. You would probably have Tyreek Smith as your nickelback, as he's the star on the depth chart. And then you got Javon Bullard. They run a weird scheme at Georgia, but it works. It works because they win everything. And then obviously the boundary, slot, nickel, free safety, strong safety. So yeah, this is my secondary way of doing the 2023 NFL draft or 2024 NFL draft board, just so that it's the ultimate draft guide. If you can look at this, you could look at last year's list and be like, oh, like these guys are just regular interior linebackers. Well, no, maybe Drew Sanders was more of a strong side. He was more of a Sam linebacker. Meanwhile, Jack Campbell was a Mike or a middle linebacker. But you'd have no idea knowing that without my draft guide. So, oops, I forgot to. So as of right now, I have a total of 150 players, but I'm looking to hopefully increase that. But as of the 23rd, right now I don't. I have 105 players. I have around 14 quarterbacks because that's kind of all I'm going to need. I don't see, like last year I had around 13. And they were pretty much all drafted, but Malik Cunningham, who I saw was an undrafted player. Patriots receiver. Technically, Patriots receiver on the practice squad. And then running backs. It's not looking as good of a running back class as it did last year, due to the fact 20 guys I had graded. I had the running back class as the third best in 2023, while in 2022 or 2024, I have it as my 10th best as of right now. I only have 8 listed that made my top technically 100. You got Raheem Sanders, Blake Corum, Braylon Allen, Donovan Edwards, Travion Henderson, Bucky Irving, Will Shipley, Trey Benson. It's a solid group. I know that the hype around Blake Corum is extremely high, but I do have some slight concerns about his build. Obviously, he's 5'8". He's up there. He's coming off of a major ankle injury as well. He's up there in age. He's around 5'7". He plays very small, but he's fast. There it is. Yeah. So that is the running back class. Receiver class, I do like. I do like the receiver class in 2024, though. Marvin Harrison Jr. is obviously a stud. Everybody knows that. Emeka Ibuka, his Robin to Marvin Harrison Jr.'s Batman. I like to call it that. I like to term it like that. Romeo Odunes and Troy Franklin are solid receivers. Both 6'3", but Romeo Odunes is more of a smaller type-ish receiver. Or no, not Romeo Odunes. Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin is 178 pounds. and 6'3". He's a good route runner though. He's pretty fluid and fast. But I kind of like Romeo O'Dunes a little better because he has an X build more, and he's gonna obviously play well with Michael Penix Jr. I think he'll cross maybe like the 1,300 mark. I don't know. Washington looks pretty good this year. I think they probably get like 9 to 10 wins maybe. And then Johnny Wilson out of FSU, he's freaking huge. He's 6'7", like 230. Looking at my 6'7", 235. A little bit young though. And he is a true junior, so he has another year of eligibility if he doesn't choose to go here. But I have him as a projected second rounder. And yeah, FSU is looking pretty dirty this year, especially their offense, man. They just got Keon Coleman, so they're looking kind of crazy on offense. Where is Florida State? Would they be the Seminoles? FSU, Florida State Seminoles. Here they are. So yeah, Florida State is looking kind of crazy this year. Let's start at the quarterback position. Jordan Travis, who had a very good year last year. Redshirt senior. He's getting up there in age. But yeah, like him a lot. Trey Benson, obviously, you guys heard earlier his name called. So, yeah. Trey Benson. They got Jaheim Bell transfer. Keon Coleman, obviously, from... Where did he come from? Michigan. He came from... No, he didn't come from Michigan. Oh, no, he did. He came from MSU. So Keon Coleman, best receiver on MSU, comes over to Florida State to join Jordan Travis. And then Johnny Wilson, another transfer. Transfers are just eating up the Florida State offense. But, yes, they got a pretty good offense, too. Oh, and then Hakeem Williams, freshman transfer. Or no, freshman signee out of Florida, who is also 6'4", by the way. They have a lot of height. Johnny Wilson, or Keon Coleman, 6'4", contested catch monster. Johnny Wilson, 6'7", 230. Hakeem Williams is like 6'4". No, 6'2", 215 though. Big guy too. Yeah, they've got a big lineup over there. And then their defense is going to be like fine. I really like Jared Verse. Where do I have him? I have him as my best edge rusher in the class. Really like Jared Verse. He's technically very sound. He's got some good explosiveness, but not elite level of speed or explosiveness. He wins with his hands a lot, which I like as a more refined edge rusher, but he is coming in for his 5th year of eligibility as a redshirt senior up to this point. He's about to enter his redshirt senior season, and he's gonna turn 23 when the draft starts. Oh no, he'll be in his redshirt junior phase or redshirt junior season, but he will be 23 as the season starts. But the interior defensive line class. Oh wait, no, I gotta go back to the offensive line. So yeah, and then you have Malik Neighbors, who went over 1,000 yards with Jaden Daniels at LSU last year. People are saying he's better than Keyshawn Butte, and I kind of agree because I think Keyshawn Butte sucks. But he was really good when in Keyshawn Butte's LSU prime in his sophomore year, and even into his freshman year, he was pretty good. But Malik Neighbors is a good receiver. And then you got the Arizona duo, Dorian Singer and then Jacob Crowing, who popped off. Both had 1,000 yards in 2022 at Arizona, except Dorian Singer transferred to USC. I think he becomes their wide receiver 1. and I have him slightly over Xavier Worthy, who I think is getting extremely overhyped. You know, Xavier Worthy is very, like, he's small. He's on the X for the depth chart, which is just not where he plays. He's 163 pounds, massive red flag. And he didn't do very well in. I'll show you his stats. He dropped a lot of balls. His drop percentage was pretty high. Where is it? Keyshawn Butte, not Butte. No, it's Keyshawn Butte, but he is Booty. I remember when I said that in my TikTok that I had to delete. Where is he? Keyshawn Booty. He is on the Patriots, though, but he's apparently going to get maybe released. Which is, like, shocking for a 5th-round draftee or something like that. Yeah, Keyshawn Butte. And he did the thing with the trainer. That was crazy, but... Oh, my computer is freaking crashed. Yeah, my computer's getting up there in age, man. I'll show you guys his advanced statistics. Where is it? So, yeah. Xavier Worthy dropped a lot. Where is it? Nope, that's the wrong one. Receiving grades. Regular season. Passing, receiving. Here it is. Drop rate. 7% drop rate. And by the way, not all drops necessarily count. Those are the ones that just fall into his hand. But in 13 games, I can't include the regular season. Yeah. I don't know why. I thought he had more drops than just 4. Maybe I'm talking about it out of my ass. I mean, in 2021, in 103 targets, he did drop less balls. His drop rate did go up. But his contested catches, 12 out of 4. I mean, technically, you could count those technically as drops. Bro, something's wrong with my computer. That's not good. Yeah. His drop rate went up. His passer rating when targeted went down to 88.5. I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay, yeah, I fixed it. His passer rating when targeted, 88.5. Pretty low. His grades overall went down across the board. Dropped from a 70 to a 71. His yards per route run went down. His yards after catch plummeted from to double what it used to be. And overall, he had a bad year. He also wasn't very good at tracking. So yeah, that's why Xavier Worthy, I've seen him get mocked in the first round, and I'm like, he better have a really good year to be drafted in the first round, man. And then obviously Ja'Cory Brooks and Adonai Mitchell, who is also joining Xavier Worthy at Texas, another smaller slot guy, or not another smaller slot guy, little thin for his frame. He's 6'4", 190, but I'll show you guys. With Adonai Mitchell. Little thin for his frame. As you can see, he's kind of shaped like this. But University of Georgia legend had multiple touchdowns in big games. Going to transfer to Texas. Hook 'em horns. And then that'll do it for the wide receiver position. And then the tight end position with Brock Bowers, the god, the GOAT, Brock Bowers. Love him. He's a sick prospect. I have him obviously as an H-back because that's really what he plays. And if you look at Georgia, what Georgia does when you play the tape, he plays the eight, he plays out of line like 90% of the time or something. Here, let me look at his stats. He plays out wide a lot. And that's what basically makes him an H-back. Where is it? Right here. If you guys have any questions, obviously let me know about some players to let me know about. Some players you want to ask how good I think they are. There he is. Yeah, his slot percent, he had played 200 snaps in the slot, which was a 59% slot percent. Percentage of snaps. Yep. 60% of his pass snaps were in the slot. By the way, that's 100 more snaps than it was in 2021 when he was the number one, or the number two, technically, tight end in the nation, with Kyle Pitts being at number one. And, yeah. I love Brock Bowers. He's actually cracked. See? And his inline, you have the slot and then you have the inline. His inline snaps went down a little bit, but his rate went down a ton. He didn't play inline super far with only a 30% inline percentage of snaps. So that's basically why I have him positioned as an H. And then him and Jaheim Bell obviously are the two best H-backs. Jaheim Bell plays that role of H-back pretty well as like a speed guy. He'll play in the fullback sometimes. Ja'Tavion Sanders out of Texas. He's in line. I have him at the Y. It's going to be interesting to see what Texas does. They're similar to FSU into where they've got like a ton of offensive firepower, but at the same time, they don't... Oh, my computer is not able to handle me streaming. I think it's finna crash. Are we okay? Okay, we might be okay. Yeah, so Texas is very similar to FSU in the fact that they got a ton of offensive firepower, but their defense is like got little bits and pieces that they like can put together, like Jalen Catalon, who just transferred in from Arkansas, who I like a lot. But they've got the firepowered offense. Quinn Ewers in the second year of his system, even though I think he potentially reclasses. I don't know if he goes to the NFL draft just yet. You got Ja'Tavion Sanders, Jr., and then you have Adonai Mitchell, who just transferred in. You've got Xavier Worthy, who's got another year in the system. They've got a pretty interesting team. Because they're going to do well. Hopefully, they'll do well on offense. They didn't do super well because Quinn Ewers got hurt last year on offense. But Ja'Tavion Sanders, back to him. Very good red zone guy. Hey, let me show you guys his stats. Obviously, first year playing. 72% reception rate, 5 touchdowns, played in line 62% of the time, 119.3 passer rating when targeted. Very solid. And his contested catch rate, again, solid at 53.3, contesting or getting 8 contested catches. A few of those being in the red zone, I'm pretty sure if I remember. I didn't watch a ton of Texas games last year. But moving on to, I think, my second favorite position in the NFL draft, or in the 2024 draft right now, offensive tackle. Really like both sides of the ball. You with Joe Alt, Olufasano, Kingsley Sumatai, headlining the top left tackles in the draft. And then at right tackle, you got two very solid guys with J.C. Latham and Blake Fisher. Latham didn't allow, I think he allowed like, how many pressures did he allow? He allowed like super low amount of pressures. Well, I guess we're starting off with J.C. Latham. But him and Joe Alt are the top players at each of their respective positions. Because you've got team report receiving. That's funny. Moving that to offensive line. Yeah, he only allowed one quarterback hit the entire year. Allowed 11 total pressures on 98.8 efficiency rating. Very, very good at right tackle. Even though it's a bit of an easier position to play compared to left tackle. But Joe Alt overall is my favorite left tackle, obviously. If you guys watched my, what's it called? My top 10 prospects for the 2024 NFL draft, you guys know that I had him at 5. Super solid. I think he is a blue chip type of tackle in the fact that he also is a guy that doesn't allow, he allowed 0 sacks. And he also has very good technique. He's got strong hands. He's got NFL size. He's got the Notre Dame pedigree. Obviously 6'7", 317. He allowed 2 quarterback hits to only 5 pressures. 99.3 pass blocking efficiency on 1 penalty. With no sacks also. And he was PFF's highest graded tackle. I think of all time possibly. Because he had 91.8. And I don't know if that was the highest ever. That's the highest that I've seen. And then we're moving on to Oluwatimi, who is also another very solid player. He did get injured late in the season. But another guy who allowed 0 sacks and 7 pressures on 542 snaps last year. Very good pass blocker. His run blocking is left to be desired to, and also his balance. Sometimes he'll get knocked over. Do you think the Steelers will make the playoffs this year? I don't. Only because, like, the problem with the Steelers, in my mind, is that there are too many good teams in the AFC for them to, like, overcome it. I mean, if I don't know. They have like a solid roster, and they turned around the rebuild pretty fast, to be honest. Like, I felt like last year should have been the rebuild year. You get out of the Big Ben system. AB's been gone for a few years. You're losing a bunch of guys, but then you go 9-8, and you know you don't even make the playoffs at 9-8 because the AFC was so stacked. And this is all to not even mention that the Jets just got Aaron Rodgers. You're in a division now with Lamar Jackson, who got a massive contract. Where's the conference? So you guys finished right under the Patriots, but your point differential was minus. Wait, no, that's not point differential. Where was their point differential? Here it is. You guys had a negative 38-point differential, and you guys won 9 games. Let's look at some other teams that didn't make the playoff, or that didn't make the playoffs with a better point differential. The Las Vegas Raiders, the New York Jets, the Washington Commanders, who won 8 games, The entire NFC South, outside of the Bucks, who somehow made the playoffs with a negative 45 differential. The Panthers didn't make it. So you guys are basically looking at a bunch of teams that have a losing record, that are around the same, or even the Cleveland Browns had a better point differential, yet they lost more games. The problem with the Steelers is they won too many close games, and their numbers were inflated around the board. They won, looking at their close games last year in 2022, they beat the Baltimore Ravens 16-13. They beat the Raiders 13-10, and the Raiders were terrible. They beat the Panthers 24-16. Yes, they lost to Baltimore 16-14. Baltimore and the Steelers were on prime time every night, and it sucked because they were not good. Both teams weren't good down the stretch. You beat the Colts. You beat Atlanta. You beat the New Orleans Saints. I felt like they had way too many inflated wins to make them look like they were so much better than they were when they really weren't. Because obviously the Steelers have a top 10 defense. Top 10 defense, even without TJ Watt. And with TJ Watt, you get it maybe bump up to top 5, even though I think they're on the borderline to 6 or 7. You won games against teams that were terrible. The Saints were obviously terrible, and they're going to be bad next year. The Colts were terrible, and they're going to be terrible again. The Atlanta was on an upswing at that point, but they're still a bad team. Baltimore was without Lamar Jackson and without multiple key players. Baltimore, again, it was without multiple key players. You guys turned a essentially 2-6 season with Kenny Pickett to a 9-8 season with multiple one-digit wins. You know what your guys' team, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me how where are they? It reminds me how the Vikings were able to make the playoffs with all of these close wins, and then they immediately get bumped out of the playoffs by the Giants. Because they weren't good. Because you beat Detroit when Detroit was terrible by 1 score. You beat New Orleans when they're terrible by 1 score. You beat Chicago, who's terrible, by 1 score. You beat Miami without Tua Tagovailoa by 1 score. Even though the game wasn't really close. You beat a terrible Arizona by 1 point. You give up 26 points to them. You beat an 8-8 You beat an upswing Washington by 3 points. You win in overtime with Buffalo. Justin Jefferson carried. You beat New England, which was a solid win. You beat the New York Jets with no quarterback. You beat the Indianapolis Colts, who you gave up 36 points to in the first... In the first half, right? They scored... Yeah. That was a fluke win. The Colts are terrible. You beat the Giants, who beat you in the playoffs, and then you beat Chicago again, who's a terrible team. It's like the Steelers... Oh, my phone's going off. You beat some terrible teams. And the thing with the Steelers is, after you beat all those terrible teams, you have a quarterback who has a fairly limited ceiling. I think Kenny Pickett's a solid quarterback. I don't think he's bad. I don't think Kenny Pickett's bad at all. But the problem with Kenny Pickett, it's he's top 20 at tops? I don't think he'll ever reach a top 10 player or top 10 quarterback. He doesn't nearly have the arm strength or the athletic profile. And then you kind of get an average quarterback here. The one thing that I really love about you guys is the Steelers is that you guys have a great receiving core, to be honest. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Allen Robinson, Pat Freiermuth with Darnell Washington. Love that. But your offensive line is bad. It's bad at best. James Daniels is good. He's your best offensive lineman. You just drafted Broderick Jones, which I love. Isaac Seumalo is fine. Mason Cole, but Chukwuma Okafor, bad. Dan Moore, bad. Najee Harris, I'm gonna say it. Najee Harris, Bad player. 3.8 yards per carry. And he's not very efficient either. Let me go back to... let me even show you guys. His efficiency was terrible. For somebody that gets that many... That is not Najee Harris. Guys, this is Najee Harris. That's just some fucking regular guy. He was just not very good. As you see, up until week 13, he was pretty much a severe below average player. Yards of 15 plus 7. Yards after yards. What is that? It's yards after contact. He had like what? Less than 3 yards after contact for being a power back? 3.8 yards per carry. That's... And he's... Yeah, 59.6 elusive grade. And he dropped severely as a receiver, not to mention. Sorry that I'm going too much. He did play... Yeah, he did have a broken foot. But he did the same thing as rookie year, too. He played the exact... Like, he played even in... kind of worse. Other like these yards obviously were great, but his yards, but he had 366 attempts, man. Like, look at the attempts leaders in 2020, 2021. He was, here it is. Najee Harris, second in total rushing attempts. And he ran for 3.9 yards per carry. Compared to Jonathan Taylor, who got similar amount of carries, ran for 5.5, destroyed him in yards. And then his fellow counterparts, only Antonio Gibson. This was a bad year for running backs, by the way. 2021 was terrible for running backs. Who had 4.1 yards per carry, with Joe Mixon slightly above him. He was dealing with a broken foot. I think, what was it? No, it was like an ankle injury. I don't remember exactly. But the problem is he's not efficient. He really isn't. He lost more yards for 15. Didn't break away for many yards. Except like a few games. Like the Atlanta game, he went off. He had 5.1 yards per carry. I mean, how many times did he even run? He had 2 games where he ran for 5 yards per carry. I mean, and then I'll show you a guy who he's not comparable to, but look at rookie Breece Hall in all of his games. 18, 7.1, 5.8, 5.4, 4.9. Breece Hall in 5 games in his rookie year destroyed Najee Harris's stats. Let's look at another rookie. Let's look at one of my favorite running backs in the league, Dameon Pierce. 9, 5, 5, 4, 4, consistent 4s. 10 plus yards, 12. Where's his, and then 9 15-yard runs. And also, he broke his ankle too. But back to the Steelers as a whole, I like their defense a lot, and I love their draft picks, but it's like, what is your ceiling? It has to be the first year that you guys don't play well. Because that's kind of what it is in my mind. Like, you guys just, like, you guys can't play well for this long. Because you guys have a capped quarterback. I don't want to rip into you guys too much. Because the Steelers are going to win games. They're going to win games. But are you guys going to get away with, like, an easy-ass schedule like it was in 2022? Like, when you guys winning one-score games against bottom-barrel teams in the league? I don't know, man. Because you guys got San Fran, Cleveland with Deshaun Watson back up again, who I think Deshaun Watson's going to have a terrible year. I think the Cleveland's going to go, like, 6 wins. I think Deshaun Watson is going to play terrible. You got Vegas, easy win. Houston, easy win. Baltimore is not going to be an easy win. The Rams are going to be an easy win. Jacksonville's a loss, probably. Tennessee, Green Bay, Cleveland, Arizona, Indianapolis. Like, you guys have another easy-ass schedule again. So how many do I think they'll make the playoffs? No. Do I think they're going to have inflated wins? Yes. But I think it's like, I don't think they'll make the playoffs. That to like overall answer your question after like 10 minutes. My bad. Yeah. I don't think you'll make the playoffs, but I think you'll get like eight wins. Because I think you'll beat Cleveland once. I think you'll beat Vegas and Houston. You'll beat Baltimore once. That's 4. I think you'll beat Los Angeles, beat Green Bay, beat Arizona, beat the Colts. That's 8 wins, 8 and 9. And if you beat, if you have a shock win, like if you beat maybe New England, if you beat, who can you beat? If you beat like Tennessee, or if you beat the Bengals, even though I don't think you'll beat the Bengals. I think the Bengals kind of destroy you guys. If you win those games, like you still won't make the playoffs. Because I think there are going to be 6 or 7 teams that get 10 plus wins for the entire AFC, man. Because you got the Bills, you got the Dolphins, you got the Jets, and the Patriots. That's literally one division. And then you got the Bengals and the Ravens in your own division, and the Browns. They're all solid teams. And then you got the Jaguars, and then whatever the AFC South is, nobody really cares about them. And then you have the Chiefs and the Chargers. Both those teams made the playoffs. And I don't think Denver does shit next year. Because what is Sean Payton going to do with that roster? That's pretty barren, especially with that contract with Russell Wilson and his limited ability. So I think that the playoff teams are essentially this. I think that the Chiefs, again, become number 1 in the NFL, get the bye week. I think that the Bengals are number 2, which they were 3 last year? Yeah. I think it's number 1 Chiefs, number 2 Bengals, number 3 probably Miami Dolphins or Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that the Dolphins win the AFC East. I think the Jags win the AFC South. Chiefs win the AFC West. Bengals win the North. I think that's pretty simple. And I think that the I think the Jets have to make the playoffs. I think they're the 5 seed. And then the Chargers are the 6 seed. And then the Bills or the Ravens are the 7th seed. And I think that the Patriots miss out on the playoffs. I think that the Browns and Steelers miss out. I think that every AFC South team, other than the Jags, miss out on the playoffs. And then the Raiders and Broncos miss out as well. But I think that it's either the Jets or the Dolphins who get the 1 seed in the AFC East. I don't think it'll be the Bills. The Bills' roster is looking like they reached their pinnacle. I think they reached their pinnacle in 2021 when they were battling the Chiefs in the AFC championship game and then the divisional game. I think that's where they met their peak because now you don't have a real running back 1. I don't love James Cook. He's a pure receiving back and, he's still a rookie. He did run for 5.7 yards per carry, but they don't use him a lot. And they're not a big rushing team because Josh Allen takes a lot of their rushing volume. Josh Allen obviously is a turnover machine, 14 interceptions. Stephon Diggs apparently has beef with Josh Allen now, which is weird. They don't have a true wide receiver 2. Gabe Davis is not a wide receiver 2. And then you got Khalil Shahir and then Trent Shetfield as your 3 and 4. That's terrible. They got to sign somebody in free agency. But they don't have any money either. And then you have the tight end group of Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. That's really good. They have a good tight end group. You have a solid offensive line with Spencer Brown, Deion Dawkins, Connor McGovern, Mitch Morse. But then your defense, man. Von Miller coming off of an ACL. Ed Oliver just got a huge contract. Greg Rousseau, he did play very well. He got 7 sacks, or 8 sacks after he got 4 in his rookie season. Always love to see them double up, but a lot of them were not super great pressures. They were more of cleanup sacks. But losing Von Miller after last season was like big because their defense took a huge step down. Micah Hyde and Jordan Porter are both going to be over 30. Porter being 32 and Micah Hyde being 32. And then you lose Tre'Davious White, who's no longer like after his injury, man. He really looked terrible after coming off of his ACL. And I'll even show you guys. He really didn't look good. He looked pretty shaky. I don't know why it says he has no works in his time frame. He does. Whatever. After his ACL, didn't look very great. And then you have what? You lose you lose Edmonds in the offseason. So now you have Matt Milano. Matt Milano is a top 5 linebacker in the league, or inside linebacker in the league. But the defense is getting a lot older. Your best player's coming off of an ACL. You have essentially one receiver on your roster who people can put their noses towards. Everybody's going to be looking at Stephon Diggs. They don't really have any wide receivers outside of Khalil Shakir. Where is this? And then Josh Allen is, I think, a red flag for me. He's not my text. And then you have, not only are you guys getting worse, you have the Jets just gained their quarterback 1. Meanwhile, they looked sick. When Breece Hall was there, they scored 22 points a game. When Breece Hall wasn't there, they scored like 17 or like 15 points per game. So you lose a full touchdown by losing your running game. You regain that now. And you get Aaron Rodgers. The Jets are looking sick. As a fan of myself, I love that prospect. The Patriots are not looking great. I will say that. But you do have a new offensive coordinator after you had Matt Patricia as your offensive coordinator. But now you got a real offensive coordinator in Bill O'Brien, and then Mac Jones is looking better in OTAs. Miami Dolphins are looking a lot better because now they have a real defensive coordinator with Vic Fangio. You just traded for Jalen Ramsey for only a 3rd-round pick. Xavier Howard hopefully has a better year, man. He didn't look great in 2022. You have Bradley Chubb, full year Bradley Chubb. Christian Wilkins is a top 10 interior defensive lineman. And you have Javon Holland on another really good. Hopefully he'll have another big year too. You got a lot of really good teams in the AFC, man. Other than the South, the Titans, the Colts, and the Texans, those guys are going to be all double-digit loss seasons. Except maybe the Texans, but no, except maybe the Titans. Nah, these are all double-digit loss seasons. Yeah, they're all double-digit loss seasons. But then for the Browns, moving on to the AFC North, they're definitely gonna lose a lot of games. I think Deshaun Watson's terrible. He came back to playing after like a year, 2 full years out of football. Terrible. Man, was he bad. Man, was he bad. Let me show you guys his passing stats. Multiple interceptions in his first couple of games. Where is it? Why are the weeks off? Here it is. Interception, 2 interceptions in his final game against Pittsburgh. But he did get some inflated touchdowns here. But completion percentage was terrible, 58.2. Look at his offensive rating compared to 2022. Or in 2020. In the year before COVID. Or no, was this the COVID year? I don't know. He had a 92.5 offensive grade. Dropped down by half. That's critical. That's clinically insane. Who do you think will win each award this year? All right. Starting off with the MVP award, I have 2 guys. Let me show you the first one. I have Joe Burrow as one of the candidates to win the MVP. He's one of the. He has the second fastest throw time out of the pocket at 2.55 seconds, which is an indicator for why he does so well. He did have 14 interceptions, but that number is heavily inflated due to the Pittsburgh game. Cut that off, and he has cut those interceptions out. He has 40 touchdowns almost to 10 interceptions. Had a 92.0 offensive grade. He took 51 sacks and still threw over 5,000 yards. I think that Joe Burrow has a good potential to win MVP, especially with Jamar Chase hopefully having a full year, with T. Higgins, with Tyler Boyd. They have a lot of good players. For my offensive player of the year, I probably have... Oh, I forgot my other MVP. My other MVP is Patrick Mahomes. I think he could easily repeat. We saw how we did without Tyreek Hill. Threw for 5,000 yards. Was the best quarterback in the league. Threw for almost 6,000 yards, actually. 5,900 in the regular season and the playoffs. 5,000 in the regular season. 41 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. Absolute beast. 105.2 passer rating that led the NFL. Absolute beast. He's the other MVP candidate. And then Jalen Hurts, I think, comes in at 3 probably for me as of right now. And then the offensive player of the year, which is the best non-quarterback, is going to be... While I think about that, I'll give you the defensive player of the year award. My number one choice for the defensive player of the year award is going to be Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, I'll just show you his rushing stats. So, in the regular season, it's got to load. I am experiencing some thunderstorms now. Or some rain, technically. Let me see if I can get this faster. But he led all... Where is it? He led all players in minimum, or you gotta have a minimum of 50 snaps. So you gotta have played. He, in what? 88.4% of pass rush snaps. The only other guy to have that little pass rush snaps was Jalen Phillips in the top 10. And then Matthew Judon. He generated 90 pressures, tied for Nick Bosa, number 1. He had less sacks, less quarterback hits, but he had the third highest pass rush win rate. He had the second highest pass rushing productivity rate. And then his true pass set, which a true pass set eliminates anomalies, like when you rush 2 passers, or like, I don't know, play actions, like plays that'll throw off of what a regular play is. He was... Where is he? He had the most amount of true pass set pressures at 60, higher than Nick Bosa. Higher pressure rate grade as well. He had the highest pass rushing production rate, and he had the second highest pass rushing win rate. With all that said, I think he probably gets more pass rushing snaps, as you can see in 2021. Where is it? Here it is. No, that's not it. Where's his snap count? Or no, where's his position area? Here, I gotta go back. There it is. Boom. In 2021, oh man, it's taking so fucking long. He played 50% of pass rushing snaps, compared to 88.4 in 2022. Fuck it, I'll just do this. So here, he rushed 51.9% of the time in 2021. Meanwhile, in 2022, he rushed for 88.4% of the time. I think he'll take another jump up to the 90 percentile for pass rushing percent, or pass rushing snap percentage. I think he'll go up a lot. For the Offensive Player of the Year, it's tough because it's a non-best quarterback award. I got last year's right in Justin Jefferson. It's been wide receiver the last 2 years, so I think I gotta repeat wide receiver, but I'm still debating whether it's one of like two players. It's either Nick Chubb, because I think Nick Chubb gets like a lot of grit this year. Ugh, I spelled his name terrible. I think that Nick Chubb gets a lot of volume in 2023. In 2021 or 2022, he set his career high for attempts with 302, set his career high for rushing yards, tied his career high for touchdowns, and he had the most 15-yard plays. He had the most broken or yards after contact or yards after broken tackle. In 2022, he had the second most. And that's yards per hour on. That's receiving. And he had his most 10-yard plays. So, I think it'll be either him for Offensive Player of the Year, or it'll be some type of receiver. I could see a few guys getting this award, but my main candidate would be Tyreek Hill. I think he has potential to go over 2,000 yards. You got to go to regular season. That's rushing. Boom. I think that it's between him and Nick Chubb. He said he had his highest offensive rating. He had his most career yards. He had his most nope. Where is it? He had his what? Fortunately, the interceptions went up though. But he had his worst passer rating when targeted though. That's the only problem. For what? What is next? Rookie of the Year. For my Rookie of the Year, I think it's going to be Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is one of my favorite players. In college, dude was a beast. I absolutely loved him. He ran for 1,000 yards. He had a contested catch rate of 58.3 as a 5'9", 182-pound player. He ran a 4.4, like that a lot. He played majority in the slot 32% of the times. Or played out wide 66, but he'll play in the slot more often, especially with the Raiders system or with the Ravens system. They got OBJ, who's a Z. Zay Flowers is a slot, and I guess Rashad Bateman will play the X. They'll have a weird system over there. The one thing that I did have concern over in college was his drop rate, 10.3% in 2023, or in 2022, the college season. But I think it's between him and a quarterback. And the quarterback that I would most likely lean towards would be Stroud, because Stroud's got a better offensive line. And also Stroud will have that immediate accuracy. He'll be like, where is it? He'll have that immediate accuracy coming out because he was very accurate in college. 70% completion percentage in 2021, 65 in 2022, 68.4 total. Had 37 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. And passer rating of 123.5. I think that was like second in the league. You don't think Zay Flowers is going to get a ton of targets? He'll get lucky if he grabs over 40 catches. I think he'll get a lot more. I think that the thing with Zay Flowers is like OBJ is going to get fed a lot. Rashad Bateman is not, though. So who is the true wide receiver 2 on their team? Because Bateman is like a deep threat. He's not really much other than that in the Ravens system. And they're going to throw the ball a lot more. So I think Zay Flowers is going to get a lot of work. And also I think he's going to get it because Zay Flowers is a really good route runner too. So he's going to get open. But I think that JSN has too much competition in his receiver room with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, 2 1,000-yard receivers, 2 Pro Bowlers there. I think that Jordan Addison isn't going to get enough volume because Justin Jefferson takes basically two receiver worth of volume. And then what? Who else? Quentin Johnson also playing with 2 Pro Bowlers or 1.5 Pro Bowlers. Mike Williams was an alternate 1 year. And then, yeah. Keenan Allen, too. Keenan Allen's like declining bad, man. Keenan Allen didn't look great in 2021 or in 2022. He didn't look great. I don't think he'll get a ton of volume, but I really don't see Zay Flowers as the one getting the most volume out of all the rookie receivers. Cause like he was also I also really liked him. I had him as my 6th highest player in the draft. I had him as my 6th highest player. So I have a bias towards him because like when I think he's one of the great, like he's up there with Garrett Wilson with one of the greatest players after the catch that I've seen in college. It's like him and it's him, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith as like elusive guys. Like they'll just like get out of whatever situation they're in. What's up, Akivi? What's up, bro? You got any NFL questions or college football questions? I'm happy to answer them. Yeah, we're just talking about awards this year. And moving on to Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's a tough one. I can see a few guys getting that. I can see potentially Witherspoon. I see Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez, and then Will Anderson. Because I don't think Tyree Wilson... I don't think Wilson will get the volume... Or what am I talking about? Not the volume. I don't think he'll get, like, the numbers. I think he'll do pretty efficiently, and I think he'll do phenomenal against the run. I don't think he'll get enough production. He'll get the pressure rates. He'll get the quarterback hits. He'll play super well against the run. The advanced statistics will love him. But he'll get, like, 6 sacks, and people will be like, he did good enough, but not good enough. Aiden Hutchinson got 9.5 sacks, and, like, that was it. He had the most out of anybody. All the top receivers in the draft all went to teams that really don't need them. Baltimore does need Zay Flowers when OBJ gets hurt. I actually think that all the top receivers went to all quarterback needy teams. Let me go to my draft board real quick. So, you got Zay Flowers went to Baltimore. They needed a receiver. They needed him because they needed to sign Lamar Jackson and they needed to get somebody in the building like OBJ and all that stuff. Jackson Smith-Njigba becomes the true wide receiver 3 in Seattle, and then he's the eventual successor to Tyler Lockett in the slot because Tyler Lockett's over 30. Quentin Johnson went to they definitely needed a receiver because Keenan Allen is getting a lot older. Mike Williams only does one thing really well, which is aggressive catches and contested catches. Keenan Allen is declining heavily physically. Jordan Addison went to a team that lost Adam Thielen in the Minnesota Vikings. He becomes their true wide receiver 2 next to KJ Osborne, again in the slot. Jalen Hyatt goes to the Giants. They didn't need another slot. He's in like a third stringer. I didn't love Jalen Hyatt. I didn't love this wide receiver class in general. I really didn't like it a lot. I probably should have had Hyatt. No. It was just a bad class. I remember making... Do you guys remember that TikTok video that I made? Where I was like, this class is trash? I don't think it's trash. I just think it was really mid. Not a lot of the like I see like 1,000-yard receiver in here. I feel like some random second rounder will be a defensive rookie of the year. I mean, you're not a random if you're a second rounder. The only guy that I could see like in the second round winning is Jack Camp. No, he went in the first round. Not Cam Smith. He won't be high enough on the depth chart. I don't know. I don't see. Maybe no, not Brian Branch. I don't think so. I don't think a lot of the second rounders will get in there. Maybe Julius Brents, but the Colts aren't going to win anything this year. I see it being one of the first round guys because in the last like couple of years, D-Roy winners. A lot of them have been first rounders. Chase Young, all right, Sauce Gardner, 4th overall pick. Micah Parsons, the 10th overall pick, or the 11th. Where was he drafted? He was drafted 12th. I was wrong twice. That's awesome. Chase Young, 2nd overall pick. Nick Bosa, 2nd overall pick. Shaq Leonard, 2nd rounder. Marshawn Lattimore, 7th overall pick? No, 11th. Lattimore, 1st round pick. Joey Bosa, 1st round pick. Marcus Peters, 1st round pick. Aaron Donald. Yeah, Marcus Peters is the 1st round pick. Aaron Donald, 1st round pick. Sheldon Richardson, 1st round pick. Luke Kuechly, 1st round pick. Von Miller, 2nd overall pick. Ndamukong Suh, 2nd overall pick. Brian Cushing, 1st round pick. Jared Mayo, 1st round pick. Patrick Willis, 1st round pick. DeMarco Ryan, 2nd round pick. Really high though, 33rd. So the chances of it being a 2nd rounder is Shaq Leonard and that's it. So the chances of it being in the last 10 years of it being a 2nd rounder compared to a 1st rounder is 10%. I would much rather bet on a 1st round pick to win Defensive Player of the Year because it's so more likely. And they're immediately better players off the bat, and that's kind of what matters in the Defensive Player of the Year voting. If you're the best player off the bat, you win the award, which it kind of makes sense because it's the Rookie of the Year award. But I think it's somebody like Will Anderson, Christian Gonzalez, Devin Witherspoon, or Jalen Carter, but I don't think Jalen Carter gets enough snaps to qualify. So that would be it. But back to the receivers, top receivers in the draft. They all went to quarterback. I mean, Josh Downs, the Colts, they needed a slot. Nathaniel Dell going to the Texans, staying in Houston, they needed a receiver. A.T. Perry going to the Saints, they didn't really need a receiver. Cedric Tillman, they needed an X. Marvin Mims, Broncos, they needed a receiver. Tim Patrick tore his ACL. What else? Rashee Rice, the Chiefs. Jonathan Mingo, the Panthers. Xavier Hutchinson also went to the Texans. Charlie Jones, Bengals. Jalen Reed, Packers. Those guys all went to wide receiver team. They need a receiver. You always need a receiver in the league. But yeah. If you guys didn't see, this is my 2024 NFL draft, my big board. I've got 100 players right now. And if you guys want that video, it's coming in like July. I don't think I'm going to get any more players. I just kind of need to know more about the players that I have. Like, I know these guys by name, but I don't know, like, everything about them. I know, like, their height, weight, position they play, their stats, their... What else? Like, obviously, I know a bit about them and the position they play because I made a depth chart about these players. But I would like to know more fun facts about these guys. Like, I know a ton about the tackle class. I know a ton about the quarterback class. I know a good amount about the wide receiver class. But, like, I need to know more about the running back class. I know a lot about the edge class. I know a lot about the interior defensive line class and the cornerback class. But I got to know better the interior line class. Oh, by the way, love the safety class. My goodness. Last year, if you guys remember, I had safety as my worst position group. This year, it's 3. This year, it's 3. I love the safety group, man. I do love the safety group. Kalen Bullock, Kamari Kitchens. Those guys both had 5+ interceptions. Javon Bullard, really solid at Georgia. James Williams is 5 or 6. James Williams is 6'5", 224. Huge safety, and he plays pretty well. Makuba, really solid again. Another three pick guy, forced pass deflection, something like that. Very productive. Malachi Moore has been in the game for a while. I remember when Malachi Moore's hype was crazy back in early last year. I had him mocked as like a first rounder. Jalen Catalan, he needs to battle the butt. Like, he's been hit by the injury bug the last 2 years though. Hopefully he'll get back with Texas after transferring from Arkansas. Damani Richardson's also really solid. Cole Bishop is solid. You thought Jordan Battle was pretty good? I agree. I Jordan Battle as my second highest, or I had him as my best safety in the class, and he went 45. And I also had him as my 14th highest player in the 2023 NFL Draft. Brian Branch coming in at 14. Boom. Yeah, I like Jordan. I like Branch a lot. So really solid tackler. Really solid tackler. He played half in the slot, half in the box. But the one problem about Branch, not very fast. He ran out like a 4.6 or something like that. And on tape, man, he'd get burned. On angle tackles, man, he would get kind of bullied. Because he just wouldn't be able to catch up to any fast guy. And for the Lions, like, they have already got Kirby Josephs. They don't really need a free safety. He's going to slot into the strong safety position and play primarily in the box and in the middle of the field. Because he's got a good instincts. He doesn't miss any tackles, and he's a tackle monster. But, man, he's not fast. That's the one error I kind of had with him. You're a Patriots fan, so you've been used to having subpar free agency wideouts. Just jealous that teams actually care about the position. Teams care a ton about receivers, man, because it's so important in the NFL. If you look at the usage rates for receivers over the last 10 years, doubled. That's kind of where the NFL is going right now, man. But for the Patriots, what did I agree? I gave them a pretty high grade. That's my results. Here it is. If you look at like where I had the Patriots, where are they? They're right over here. I had them as a B. I gave them my 15th ranking in the draft. Patriots have had quite a subpar receiving core the last couple of years. You guys got Juju Smith-Schuster in free agency, he went to the Raiders. Oh, man. Where is he? Jacoby Myers. There it is. You guys let Jacoby Myers go. Yeah, Jacoby. I think Tyquan Thornton's going to have a pretty good year. I think Tyquan Thornton will have a good year. Devontae Parker. Oh, man. That's not looking good. Yeah, Devontae Parker, man. He was a big play guy. I remember watching a few Patriots games. He would get like one massive catch a game, and that'd flood his yards. That'd make him get average 60. Whenever he played, it would be like a 60 catch game, and it would be like one He'd be like one big catch a game and then like 3 small ones, and he was good. Juju Smith-Schuster, you guys got in free agency to like the same deal as Jacoby Myers. It's fine. It's whatever. He's not 2018 Juju Smith-Schuster. He really isn't. But I think Tyquan Thornton has a good year. Kendrick Bourne is solid. Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki, they're all solid. You guys got like a fine-ish receiving core. It's bottom 20, but it's not like not last. And I mean, for your guys' draft, for where you guys were at 17, I'd rather you guys have Christian Gonzalez than like any other guy, to be honest. I'd rather you guys have Christian Gonzalez. I liked him way much. I gave the pick an A+. Because he went behind... where is the Commanders? Because he went a pick behind Emmanuel Forbes. And I was like, wow. Patriots just got them a good one. Keon White was a solid pick. He fell in the second round. There were a lot of people saying that he was going to be a first-round pick. I didn't think so. But then, like, I was confused on pretty much the rest of the picks. Like, Marte Mapu, I didn't know anything about him. I didn't grade him out of Sacramento State because I don't look at D2 guys. Jake Andrews out of Troy, once again, I didn't look at him. He was outside of my top 200. Chad Ryland, a kicker in the 4th round, is kind of blasphemous. You don't need to draft kickers. You don't really need to draft kickers. I gave that a C. Sidey Snow at Eastern Michigan, once again, not graded. Antonio Maffei, once again, not graded. You drafted 3 interior offensive linemen that I was just like, why? Your interior offensive line is already good. You've got David Andrews. You've got... Where is he? So you got Cole Strange, you got David Andrews, you got Michael Onwenu. That's a really solid interior offensive line. I guess they just wanted to build that second level, but like... You could have done that outside of the freaking 3rd and 4th round because you had a lot more needs, man. Like, you could have used those picks to, like, build up the linebacking core, which is terrible right now, with Jelani Tavai and Jawan Bentley as your starting linebackers, or inside linebackers. But overall, it's a solid roster. Jonathan Jones is going to jail, so he's going to be out. Or not Jonathan Jones, Jack Jones. That's my bad. Jonathan Jones is not going to jail, it's Jack Jones. For gun charges, out of all things. Oh, fuck. My mic just came loose. Oh, man. You guys see? Oh, shit. Ugh. Minor technical error, guys. I'm back in a sec. He's playing the oops card. Yo, my bad, bro. I forgot to check my luggage, yo. Yo, I'll do it. Yo, next time, I got you, dog. Oh, my God. My freaking setup's in shambles. That happened to a Jets player recently? Who? He wasn't on the team. Oh, it was, Marcus May. Marcus May was caught with a gun. He got fined $20K. And he was arrested. Fuck, man. Thing won't fucking go in. It did happen to Marcus May. No. It didn't happen to Quinnen Williams. Oh, no, you're right. It happened to Marcus May and Quinnen Williams. The thing with Quinnen Williams is it was in Texas. He got arrested. No, he got arrested in Alabama, which is his home state. And he didn't go to jail. He just got fined or like caught. But it was legal. It was under his name. He had a license. Oh my god, this mic won't go in. Holy shit. It did happen. It might. Yeah. Oh my god, there we go. Fucking pain in the ass. Yeah, cleared Monday of 2 felony gun charges stemming from a March arrest at LaGuardia Airport. Yeah, you're right. No criminal charges. Technical issue with the storing of firearm. Why are people bringing Glock 19 too? The gun was licensed, see? I was right, yeah. So it was licensed in his home state, but, like, not in New York, dude. It also happened to Marcus May, by the way. Oh, no, Marcus May was, like, drunk driving. Oh, no, here it was. Marcus May arrested, accused of aggravated assault with a firearm. Nice. Yo, keep our athletes away from guns, man. I swear to fucking God, bro. They're actually the worst. Like, look at the NBA right now, like, with the NFL and the NBA. Dude, these athletes, man. Stay away from guns, stay away from gambling. It really isn't, like, it's really not that hard, dude. Speaking from, like, not speaking from experience, like, it's, like, it could be, it can't be that hard. And it really is only, like, 1% of the NFL and the NBA. I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Whatever. I mean, we never want to hear our athletes get freaking arrested, though. DK Metcalf and Lockett put almost the same stats, but DK gets so overhyped. I completely disagree. I think that DK Metcalf deserves, like, pretty much all of the hype. And Lockett is extremely underrated, but, like, it gets thrown around too much. People act like this, like, nobody has heard of Tyler Lockett ever. And Tyler Lockett is, like... Has he made a Pro Bowl? Yeah, he's made a Pro Bowl. The problem is, it's like... Yeah, no, Tyler Lockett's got to have made a Pro Bowl, right? Yeah, he's made an All-Pro. First team All-Pro as a rookie? I don't remember. Oh, as a returner. Yeah, Tyler Lockett's career has ended up pretty well. The thing with DK Metcalf, it's like... Here, let me show you. Nope, wrong one. Does this show who he went up against? DK Metcalf goes up against tougher opponents. Yeah, see? All right, let me show you back-to-back who they played. Please load. Oh my god, my dogs. Alright. Alright. So, DK Metcalf went up against Patrick Surtain, Emmanuel Mosley, AJ Terrell, Marshawn Lattimore, Byron Murphy, J.C. Jackson, Byron Murphy again, Jamel Dean, Jalen Ramsey, J.C. Horn, Tre'Davious Ward, L'Jarius Sneed, Gigi Reed, Jalen Ramsey, Travarius Ward. Tyler Lockett went up against Ronald Darby, Travarius Ward once, Casey Hayward, Amani Oruwariye, Paulson Adebo, Marco Williams, Bryce Callahan, Dory Jackson, Marco Williams, Carlton Davis, Rakia Sin, Darian Kendrick, CJ Henderson. CJ Henderson's terrible. Bottom 5 cornerback in the league. Demore Lenore, DJ Reed, Troy Hill, and then Lenore again. Yes. So basically nobody's. I don't even know who this guy is. Let me... Is he even, like... top of the... Is he even on the team? Was he a practice squad guy? No. He's just the outside cornerback. He's just the outside cornerback. The cornerback, too. He's a recent draft pick, so it's okay. It's okay if I didn't know. I didn't get into the draft, or I didn't know him this time. 1 pick, 5 pass deflections. He started a few games. So basically, DK Metcalf went up against, like, bump and run. Like, DK Metcalf went up against true man bump and run cornerbacks who are, like, get in your face, hands in, like, your chest, press cornerbacks, like J.C. Horn, Javarius Ward, Jalen Ramsey, DJ Reed, L'Jarius Sneed, AJ Terrell, Lattimore, Surtain, Byron Murphy. He went up against bump and run, like, man cornerbacks, like, physical cornerbacks. And then Tyler Lockett went up against all the twos. So now, I think that DK Metcalf is better. He's way better. But it's not crazy to say that you like Tyler Lockett more. He needs to win more against bump and run DBs. He wins a lot. He does his best, but it's, like, hard. It's hard to win every time against bump and runs. Because they're gonna win some. You're just gonna have, like, you can't win every time. Because at some point, it's like, if it's not a win for you, it's a win for them. But even if it's not a win for, even if it's not a win for them, it's still a win for them. Because let's say that he almost complete, like, DK Metcalf, like, mosses him, but it gets incomplete at the last second. That's still technically a win, but it's not. Because, like, they almost got mossed. And it's just harder. Because, like, Patrick Surtain's a top cornerback. H. Terrell is a really good cornerback. Lattimore, really good cornerback. Byron Murphy, really good. J.C. Jackson, really good before his knee injury. Ramsey, Horn, Ward, twice. Ramsey, twice. Horn. I sent him again. L'Jarius Sneed. And he put up, like, 64 yards against Terrell. 127 and a touchdown against Ramsey. Put 8 on him. Horn, 71 on 177 air yards. Travarius Ward, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 10 receptions. And Ward is a top 15 cornerback, in my opinion. Ramsey and DK have a big rivalry. Gonna miss that now. He's in our division. Great. Yeah. But I think that DK Metcalf and Javarius Ward are gonna have a big rivalry. You should see them, man. Oh, my God. Him and Ward get after it. Dude, him and Ward get after it. Sauce owns everybody. You're speaking to the choir, man. Sauce Gardner is actually the GOAT. He's like, essentially, he's the Lawrence Taylor of defensive players. You know what I mean? Without the defensive player of the year. He stepped into the league and became number 1 in his position. Just like that. Like, the only bad game that is listed on here is T. Higgins. The problem is, he guarded T. Higgins 47% of the time. You know who he was really guarding? He was guarding, what's his name? Jamar Chase. He was guarding Jamar Chase for the entirety of the game. He played, I think, 15 snaps against T. Higgins, and then he played the rest of the snaps against Chase. And you know what he did? Chase had 0 targets. So if we take out this game, add a 0 to it. And then you have Devin Duvernay, 19 yards. Mark Andrews, by the way, had 0 receptions when Sauce Gardner was guarding him. Amari Cooper, 49 yards. Deontay Johnson, 0. Waddle, 25. 1,300-yard receiver, by the way. Lazard, 8. Hamler, 4. And he had a game-saving pass deflection. Kendrick Bourne, -2 yards. Gabriel Davis, 59. He wasn't guarding him on that play. I know what they're talking about. And also, game-saving pass deflection. Aguilar, 0. Claypool, 1 catch. And there was no other receptions after that. Adam Thielen, 28. He was guarding Adam Thielen, but when he was guarding Justin Jefferson, he had 2 pass deflections. Gabriel Davis, 6 yards. DJ Clark, 7 yards. Marvin Jones, 23. DK Metcalf, 13 on 7 targets. And then Jalen Waddle, again, 37. And by the way, Tyreek Hill also got shut down. Cornerback is the toughest position to play. You can go from hero to zero pretty quickly. The hardest position technically in football is quarterback because it's like heavily IQ. But the hardest physical position to play is cornerback. Yeah, cornerback is definitely it's a top 3 hardest position to play. I think it's the hardest 3 positions in the game. It's 1 quarterback, 2 cornerback, 3 offensive line, primarily left tackle. Then the 4th hardest is probably middle linebacker. 5th hardest is center. 6th hardest is offensive guard. 7th hardest is probably safety. 8th hardest would be interior defensive lineman. 9 would be edge rusher. 10 would be receiver, and then running back. Running back isn't the easiest position to play, but it's the most replaceable, making it the easiest. Because you can be like you could be like the greatest, you could be like Jonathan Taylor, 1,800 yards, and he'll get like $60 million at most. Meanwhile, you could be Justin Jefferson, 1,800 yards relative to their position, and Justin Jefferson will get a $100 million contract and more. Jamar Chase will get a $100 million contract. Meanwhile, like the best running back in the league right now, who you could think of, like Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's contract is like $60 million or like $50 million. That's kind of where I would go. 3-year, $36 million deal. See? And Tyreek Hill, who signed the biggest receiver contract of all time, 4 years, $120 million, compared to $36 million. Nick Chubb is the best player at his position. Tyreek Hill is the second best at his position. Oh my god, my mic is so fucked. Or my mic stand. Oh shit. Alright, we're good. Hopefully. Dude, it's tough. Tough out here in the NFL. So yeah. Sauce Gardner's a beast. Enough said. I mean, I have him as the best, so. What else can we talk about? I'm only going to be here for maybe like 10 more minutes. Yeah, like 10 more minutes. I've been on here long enough. Smoking that gas pack or what? I'm probably going to smoke tonight. Shh, don't tell anybody. Oh, yeah. Everybody, we're going to talk about the 2024 NFL draft class right now because I'm kind of loving this draft class. Do you guys have any questions about that one? Any questions about the 2024? Oh man, you're hitting the numbers with me today to give a You're asking about my second favorite player in the 2024 NFL draft class, and then you're asking me about Sauce Gardner. Talking to me nice today, man. Talking to me nice today. Yes, Marvin Harrison Jr. is quite literally a god. He's the best receiver prospect I've seen since Jamar Chase. And let me show you guys. I have an early scouting report for 10 players. Marvin Harrison Jr. ended up being my number 2 player in the 2024 NFL draft for my early scouting report. Here is my report for him. Dude is simply a monster. Son of Colts legend Marvin Harrison, who is a Colts Hall of Famer. He's like his dad, but he's not like his dad at all. He doesn't necessarily play similar, but he has aspects of his game. But Marvin Harrison was 5'11", 190 pounds. Marvin Harrison Jr., 6'4", 205 pounds. Plays the X receiver. He is a freak athlete, like truly freak athlete. He's just one of those guys. His body control is like quite like I've never seen before. He makes insane grabs. And in college football, you only have to have 1 foot down. In the NFL, you have to have 2. He will get like that 1 foot down somehow. Like, I don't even know. He'll just get it down. There's like this crazy clip of him playing Indiana. And that was crazy. He's great ability at the catch point. Obviously, he's 6'4". He's lengthy as hell. He's got phenomenal route running for his size. His route running is crazy, especially on like slants and outside routes and his corners and his post routes. He's got a quite developed route tree. He can do pretty much everything. I don't see him do a lot of comebacks, though. He doesn't really do a lot of comebacks. He has great ability after the catch. He's the most complete receiver since Chase. He's like a 4.4 guy. He's not a 4.3. He's got great speed, though, but he's not that fast. He's not like Hyatt fast. Or like Tyreek fast. He's kind of like around the same speed as not Jamar Chase. More like, what's like a relative speed for him? Yeah, just maybe a little like on the same level as Justin Jefferson. He's like the same speed level as Justin Jefferson, but without the route running. But not the same speed though. They're pretty much the same speed, but not the same route running. He can play around the positions too. I love Harrison. My player comp as of now, it's AJ Green and T. Higgins. He's a better route running T. Higgins, who's slightly faster, and he's built like AJ Green. Anything past Caleb and Drake at the quarterback position, I took a look at next year's draft. I haven't dug too deep. Yes. As you can see, I have dug quite deep. I've dug into the depths. That was stupid. So I have 14 quarterbacks down right now. I have 2 quarterbacks after Caleb Williams and Drake May. Caleb Williams, I have as a blue chip prospect. Drake May, an early first round grade. Bo Nix. I like him a lot, but the thing about Bo Nix is like if you saw him at Auburn and you saw him at Oregon, 2 different players. If you saw him at Oregon and you saw him at Auburn, 2 completely different players. Because he goes to Oregon, he pops the absolute hell off. 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and he rushes for over double-digit touchdowns. But then you look at him at Auburn, it's like he didn't get over 20 touchdowns once. Didn't get anything going in his freshman season. Couldn't get anything going. Had terrible completion percentage numbers in both his sophomore and freshman season, under 60. He gets a slight smidge bit better in 2021. And then in 2022, transfers to Oregon, pops off, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and he had 10 on the ground? 14 on the ground to 1 fumble. And if you see in his freshman year, 7 touchdowns to 11 fumbles. In 2021, 4 touchdowns to 6 fumbles. He's an interesting one because he's a great dual threat, but the thing is, it's like his accuracy isn't all there, 71.8%, but that's because they ran a lot of RPOs. Oregon ran a lot of RPOs to try to get him out of or to get him more in for his comfort zone, which is like a dual system where he's going to be either the short pass, get that complete and let your receivers do after the catch, or go for a run. But I like Bo Nix. He's going to be interesting. It depends on... He needs to play in the pocket a little bit better because his first reaction really is to either throw or run. And I would like to see him do more in the pocket. But outside of that, Michael Penix Jr. is another fun player I like a lot. He was from Indiana, transferred to Washington. Another guy who played very well after he transferred from his other team. As you saw in Indiana, didn't do anything much as special. His best year was 2020, the COVID year, in only 6 games, 14 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Comes back in 2021, he gets injured, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions with a 60 passer rating. And then in 2022, transfers to Washington and becomes one of the best quarterbacks in the nation with 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He had 103 passer rating, and then he also rushed for another 4 touchdowns. The thing with him is like Michael Penix Jr. is a little undersized at 213, 6'3", and he's also a left-handed quarterback. Left-handed quarterbacks don't have success in the NFL, plain and simple. Outside of if you're like the only left-handed quarterback that does phenomenal, like Tua, who's done really good, like who else? Michael Vick, for recent memory. But like Michael Vick was an insane rusher, and then Tua Tagovailoa had like pinpoint accuracy. He's good. Steve Young too, but like that's a long time ago, man. That's like the 80s and the 90s. This is 2020. This is 2023, man. We're progressive now. But yeah, Steve Young was... what was Steve Young drafted in? First round, 11th overall pick. He was another guy. Yeah, you're right. Oh, Rich Eisen, too. He was another big left-handed quarterback that was very, very good out of college. But, like, college lefties are fine, whatever. NFL lefties, different thing. Because Steve Young didn't even work out in the Bucs system even. He was signed in free agency by the 49ers, and then he became a Hall of Fame player. He wasn't even good his first 3 years. Like, look at his stats. 1995, 3 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. 1986, 8 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. And then he gets cut, cut or traded. I forgot exactly which one it was. He signs with San Francisco, becomes a backup for 4 years, gets a start in 91, and then in 92, he becomes an MVP. 93, he becomes the runner-up. 94, he becomes the MVP again. And then, they win they won 1 championship with him. Or no, they won 3 with him. Having Jerry Rice on your team helps massively. I remember seeing the documentary on Jerry Rice, Football Life, and they were like, Steve Young threw him over like something 1,000 balls just so that Jerry Rice would understand his left-handed like arm slot. So he would like figure out the spiral on the ball. Steve Young's such an interesting story, man. But yeah, he did have Jerry Rice, but it wasn't prime Jerry Rice. He was like 30 at that point in the 90s. He was 29 when he got his first start, and then when Jerry Rice won the MVP, he was 30 years old. But at the same time, he might have been 30 years old, but like 1,500 yards. 1,500 yards. His career high in yards. So yeah. How good was Montana without Rice? Montana was an MVP. No, he wasn't an MVP. He got injured, and then they didn't re-sign him, and then he played 1 year with Kansas City, and he made a Pro Bowl, and then he retired shortly after that. He was getting older. He was getting older. Oh, I forgot. I didn't see your other one, Cade. You're about to say he's basically AJ Green. You beat me to it. Yeah, I think it's a very popular take. I think AJ Green is like the close to being consensus. Like build on Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, looking at AJ Green. Like, looking at their build, AJ Green, smaller, slider receiver, listed at 160 pounds. By the way, he was 200 pounds. I don't know why they college stats. Played at Georgia. But AJ Green in the NFL, that is not AJ Green. Whoops. That is not AJ Green. There he is. So AJ Green in the NFL, 6'4", 207. Marvin Harrison Jr., 6'3", 202. But like Sports College Football Reference always gets their shit wrong because they're like, oh, these are their combine numbers on ESPN, because ESPN looks at their class ranking, or ESPN looks at their official chart on Ohio State's website. He's 6'4", 205. AJ Green in the NFL was 6'4", 207. And then if we look at AJ Green and then Marvin Harrison, let's look at their like build. So here's a good image of his build. And then let's look at AJ Green. Looks pretty similar to me. And then obviously the stats and the size and the ability and the playing ability. Yes, they're very similar. I wouldn't say they're the same player, though. I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't rely on his contested catch ability. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. offers a little bit after the catch and is faster. I forgot AJ Green's combine says he didn't go, right? Yeah, so the thing about them, it's like, that is not AJ Green. Here it is. Oh, maybe. Maybe they do. We'll have to see what Marvin Harrison Jr.'s stats will be, but they look pretty similar. He was 211 at the combine, 6'3" and a half, 4.48, 35-inch vert, 20 shuttle, 4.21, 10-yard split, 1.55, 18 reps in the bench press. Wonderlink was a 10 though. Ooh, that's terrible. That's bad. They look pretty similar though, and obviously that's my play comp. But yeah. But I think that's gonna do it for me today. We streamed for a good 2 hours, and hopefully I'll be back on soon. It's the weekend coming up, so I'll probably stream again. We're just gonna be talking once again about the draft, about the NFL, about pretty much anything you guys want to. So, I'll see you guys soon. See you guys probably maybe tomorrow. I won't say tomorrow definitively. But yeah. See you guys tomorrow.